This afternoon, you're listening to the Todd Laborowitz Show, Real Estate Radio and Sound Broadcast Network, WRC 1260 AM. I'm your host, Todd Laborowitz, and this segment is brought to you by Topaz Mortgage, our preferred partner for mortgage brokering. And in the studio with me now is Gary Ditto, a heavy hitter over in the Kensington area, the Ditto Group. Welcome to the studio.
Oh, thank you. Glad to be here.
You're a very well-known guy. Your name is everywhere.
Well, it's everywhere in Kensington, you might say. I've been there for over 30 years, been very active in the community, started my family there. My wife and I have raised our 3 sons in the community, and we've been very active in a variety of community events.
And you're very well connected to Kensington. I mean, they have their own mayor.
Yes.
And you have like big events. I saw it from your website. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, one of the big events, which we started 4 years ago, is we started the annual train show, which comes the weekend after the Labor Day parade. And that takes place in Town Hall, and you walk into Town Hall, and there this huge expansive opening, and there are all these trains running around, choo-chooing and smoking, and it's a marvelous thing. The children just are enchanted by it.
That's you?
Yes.
I know that.
Really?
My friends' kids love going to that event, and there's just one problem.
What's that?
They cry because they have to leave. It's like you can't get them out of there.
It's pretty magical.
It is. It's very special. How long have you been doing that again?
Well, about 4 years ago, I was selling Christmas trees at our church, St. Paul's United Methodist Church in Kensington, and my partner said, well, my husband's at the train show today. Well, we're out there. It's freezing cold. No one's coming to buy Christmas trees. And I said, train show? We should have that in Kensington. So I went and checked it out the next day in College Park, where he was, with the National Capital Train Trackers. Well, the Kensington Historical Society, the Noyes Children's Library Foundation Society, and the town of Kensington and Gary Ditto and the Ditto Group all brought our efforts together to get a train show started in Kensington in the town hall. All the proceeds benefit the Kensington Historical Society and the Noyes Children's Library Foundation. By the way, Noyes Library is the oldest library in the United States, older than the Library of Congress.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
Well, it was started by Brene Warner and the Crosby Noyes family, which was the Evening Star at the time, and they donated their books to the library, and it became a public library where for $1 a year, you could be a member and you could take books out. It evolved into a children's library, and there are many people who come today with their children to that library whose mothers brought them to that library when they were children.
So Kensington is very family-oriented.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Tell me more.
Well, families have grown up there, and the children come back, and they want to be in that community. They are very identified with it. Kensington is a place where there is a sense of place. It's not an amorphous suburb. There is a town center. There is a town that has a mayor and a council, and there are a lot of things that get done for the benefit of the community. The volunteerism in the town of Kensington and the surrounding communities is just superb. The numerous activities on a continuing basis throughout the year. The Labor Day Parade, the train show, the 8K race, which I marshaled for 17 years. You have the Christmas tree lighting in the fall. You have the Day of the Book in the spring, which is started by Ellie at the Kensington Row bookstore. And that is an international event, and we do the Day of the Book in Kensington. The Kensington Fire Department is putting on a flea market this coming Saturday for the first time, and they're going to be doing that on a regular basis. There's just a lot of things happening.
How many square feet is Kensington?
Well, there is a town of Kensington, which is a definitive area that is TOK, Town of Kensington, and that has the mayor and has the council. And then there's a zip code of Kensington. Well, I live in the zip code, which is Rock Creek Hills, and then there's Parkwood. And so it's all called Kensington, but the actual town is a relatively small area. Probably has about 800 houses in it, I would say. And within that town, there is a historic district, and those are old homes that were built in the 1890s primarily. And there is a huge love of those old homes to preserve their character, also to preserve the garden-like quality and character of the Kensington community.
Perfect. Tell me a little bit about the park. No one talked. That's how I first heard of Kensington. Is this amazing park? People come home from school. They take their kids over to this park. Everyone's playing in a park.
Mm-hmm. Well, Kensington actually has, I can't remember how many parks. It's quite a number of parks. It actually was voted one of the second best small towns in America to live in part because of the parks. There are just numerous parks. Kids go there and play baseball. I've coached soccer teams in those parks when my kids were little. You see children out there in the parks all of the time. And you'll see their parents with them and organized sports and also just pickup sports.
So we see a lot for families and kids to do a lot of activities
Yes.
in the Kensington town. But the question is, how about the community coming together? Like, is it a tight community?
Oh, yes. Kensington really is much like a small town. Everybody sort of knows everybody, and it is a small town. It is not a transient community.
Perfect. Well, by the way, if you're just tuning in, I have with me Gary Ditto with the Ditto Group. I'm your host, Todd Laborwood, and you're listening to Salem Broadcast Network, WRC 1260 AM. Now, Gary, let's talk about real estate.
Okay.
You're a real estate agent. We're a real estate show. And I want to know more, like, what's going on in the Kensington market?
Kensington is a very stable, very mature real estate market. That means that there really isn't any new inventory of houses of significance being built. It's pretty much the houses that have been there. In fact, if you drive through Parkwood, for example, you will see so many additions have been done to houses. It's actually getting to be rare where you see an original small ranch house. Almost all of them have been significantly improved, and that's people making a commitment to stay in the neighborhood. They're improving their house and making it larger for their larger families, and they're saying, okay, this is where I want to be. They want to be there for the community, or their kids go to schools that they like, and of course, transportation arteries are great, and there's lots of things to do in Kensington and shopping and so forth. So people make a commitment to the community, and they stay there.
Wow. It's amazing because when I heard all this information, I was so excited to have you on the show because I've been out in this area since like the 90s, early 90s. And I know Kensington, I know of Kensington, but I never knew the secrets of Kensington. And I really wanted to get that information out to our listeners. Now, let's go a little into your background.
Okay.
You started out as an appraiser, and you also got your master's in social work, and you were a teacher for a while.
Right.
And then you decided to travel around the world.
Well, actually, not quite in that order, but I did finish college with an undergraduate degree in history and economics, and I got a wonderful job, worked for the New York Times, which is a fabulous newspaper, and I loved it. But I figured that the corporate life wasn't for me, and I thought I would just buy a one-way ticket to Europe and see what would happen. And then I did that. And I eventually wound up going all over Europe, British Empire, and then across the Middle East from Turkey to India, overland, and then all over India by third-class train and up in the Himalayas where I did some trekking, and then back in Bombay, then a ship to Mombasa and Tanzania, and then all over East Africa, and then I took a barge down the Nile River, and wound up eventually started in southern Sudan at Juba, and wound up in Wadi Halfa, and then eventually Cairo and Alexandria, and then back to Europe. So that was about 2 years.
You're a well-rounded guy.
It was all an
And
axe.
your heart's in Kensington. Do you go outside of Kensington?
Sure, and I'm licensed in Maryland and D.C.
Okay, but where's the majority of your business?
Kensington.
Okay, and what I learned from this show, which is amazing, and I've been in the business since 1997, and I'll tell you, ever since hosting the show, I've learned so much information that I'm really becoming like the expert on all this. They say when you're choosing a real estate agent, you really need to choose the town you want to live in, and then you got to find the person that's the expert in that area that can help you choose of what you need to do.
That is the traditional advice. That is
or
correct.
a buyer's agent.
Yes, someone who really Kensington is really a patchwork, like a quilt, a patchwork quilt of different communities and neighborhoods. They're all very distinct. They have different qualities and different valuations. and you need to have an appreciation for what portion of the Kensington community that you're in and buying into, and what are the characteristics of that particular community. And you have to have that sort of granular, in-depth knowledge that comes with a lot of time, and that's what I've been doing for over 30 years.
Perfect. And how far is it from D.C.?
Gosh, I guess it's about 5 miles, I would guess, from D.C.
How far is the metro?
Metro is the Bethesda, or there's Forest Glen Metro. It's once again, 3 or 4 miles.
And how's crime?
Very low crime rate. Most of Kensington is in the Bethesda Police District. That is the lowest crime district in the county. And I've lived there 30 years. We've had car break-ins in our driveway, but that's about it.
And we're running out of time. So, Gary, real quick, what's your secret to success?
Well, I think it begins with really caring deeply about the people that I work with, and wanting to do my work with as much integrity and intelligence as I can bring to it. I'm very well trained in the theories of valuation, and I bring that to bear in my work and try to do it in a very open systems way. And it's been very, very gratifying to me.
Well, you can tell it's working.
It's working.
Great. Well, Gary Ditto with the Ditto Group, thanks for being here.